Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today is a patch day and now, as you might know already from the patch notes, there are several more relics added to the game if you own the expansion. In case you don't know, you can check them at this vendor here in War vs World. On the last tab you can see the locked relics. They will be unlocked once you unlock them in PvE, so you can repurchase them from this vendor here. Today I want to discuss these new relics because I think some of them are really strong and could be used in several classes. Let's start from the relic of the Midnight King. Grant might and fury to nearby allies when you disable an enemy. It's just a stack of might for 13 seconds. Currently I am on a full boon duration, full minstrel druid, so the stats you will see here are just changed from the boon duration. If I swap build, this might duration will be lower, the fury duration would be lower, and also the healing from the successive relics I will show you. So take these informations with a grain of salt. So, Relic of the Midnight King, it has an internal cooldown of 1 second. It grants 1 stack of might and fury to allies whenever we disable an enemy. I think this could be good, for example, on a Tempest or maybe on a Scrapper, or even also on the Vindicator if you use your Staff 5, your heal Vindicator. But still, I don't think this will replace the existing relics, because the Fury uptime can be covered by the existing classes with the existing relics, so I don't think this could be the best option. But still, it's interesting because oftentimes I notice the fury is not enough. But if the squad composition is organized and chosen properly, I think that this relic is not really useful, because also it has a 1 second internal cooldown. What I'm curious of is we should see if this only works like once every second per target or once every second in general, because if it is 1 every second per target, it means that if you toss a line of warding on the ground and you disable 10 enemies, for example, will you get 10 stacks of might? I don't think so, because it's not specified. Usually if it is per interval it's showed in the tooltips, but it is not showed right now, so I think this is just once per second. So 1 stack of might and some fury is not worth it to replace like other supports relics that we are currently using, like Flock or Duena or Antitoxin. Here we have an interesting relic, Relic of Phoebe. When you use a healing skill, grant nearby allies swiftness and remove movement impairing conditions from them. You will grant a lot of swiftness and also remove immobilize, chill and cripple from 5 targets around you, including yourself, of course. This has a 10 seconds cooldown, meaning that you can exploit this with your Revenant, the tablet, for example, on your Revenant if you play Heal Vindicator, or maybe also on the Firebrand, because the Firebrand has a mantra, so you can use your charges of mantra once every 10 seconds, and so each time you use it, you will remove immobilize, cripple and chill. This could be a very strong option, but I think this will not replace the currently existing relics, because there are just too many condition cleanses and I don't think another one is needed, especially after the nerfs to the corruptions in the latest months, which saw a decrease of conditions. So there are already so many cleanses, I don't think this relic will be played. It's very strong in my opinion for smaller groups, for guild versus guilds maybe, and also for roaming and also PvP. It can really save you and your party. Like, let's say you are facing a ranger with an entangle, you press your healing skill and you will remove immobilize, cripple and chill from yourself and your party. So in bigger blobs I think this will not be used because there are better options, but still it's kinda interesting and also a relic worth noting, because many of the previous relics are just unplayable. Now I want to skip the relic of Caracoa on purpose because I want to discuss it later better. So here we have another interesting relic of the Demon Queen. Poison that you apply reduces healing by an additional amount. Disabling a foe applies poison. This could be very strong, especially in PvP in my opinion, because the healing reduction which poison applies, as you might already know, poison applies 33% less heal effectiveness on the enemies afflicted by poison. With this relic, our poison will deal 50% healing reduction instead of 33, which is kinda huge. In War vs World, it probably is not the best because we don't run conditions, but still several classes can apply poison kinda easily, but still this poison will get cleansed a lot. I think this is very strong in PvP, when the cleanses are not unlimited, but the poison is very easy to apply, like if you are playing a ranger with the traps, or maybe some condition necro or something like that, you will apply a lot of poison. Also on some daredevil, thief and so on, you will apply a lot of poison, and so the increased heal effectiveness reduction is very strong in my opinion and could be used. Disabling a foe also applies poison, so this is another strong stuff because 3 seconds of poison is not something very bad. The Relic of Nios, removing a condition from yourself, heals you. So this is a bit egoistic as a relic. It's kinda strong. I think many classes will play this, maybe in PvP or maybe also in War vs World, but in the roaming, not in fights, because this is a solo relic. You just remove a condition and you get healed. So I imagine this on Willbender or maybe also some druid like side noder in PvP or something like that. I don't think this can be used in War vs World Zerg fights. Also, right now I am at maximum healing power with the druid, and it just heals for like 300 per condition. It's not bad, but still in War vs World you wouldn't notice it. If you are a roaming player or PvP player, I think this is one of the strongest options right now. It increases your sustain immensely, in my opinion. Like you are 1 vs 1 against a condition player, you will press this and you will use this relic, and you will get so much healing for removing conditions. I think it's really worth it. Here we have a very interesting option, and I'm very curious on testing this, but on paper I thought it was better by reading the previous patch notes. Gain stacks of Nourish Hunger every interval when you remove boons from enemies. Consume 10 stacks to grow larger, dealing increased damage, taking reduced damage, and converting a percentage of outgoing damage into healing. So basically, once every interval, which is 5 seconds, if I understand correctly, you can get a stack of this once you remove a corrupt a boon from an enemy. And once you reach 10 stacks, meaning that it will take 50 seconds to reach 10 stacks, so I guess this was designed specifically for some maybe raids encounters in PvE, or maybe for War vs World longer fights, which are 50 seconds, is realistic to do a fight with 50 seconds. Once you reach these 10 stacks, you will get a 15% damage increase. Then you will convert also 10% of your damage to healing to yourself, and also you will get 10% damage reduction on yourself, and then healing out from outgoing boon and condition damage, and healing from outgoing attack damage. So everything you can read here. And I don't think, maybe I didn't understand correctly, because it seems a lot once every 5 seconds, so it will take like 50 seconds to build up this boon, which also lasts only 5 seconds. Maybe I'm missing something. If this is the case, I don't think this is worth it, because it really doesn't increase anything at the moment. Like, you cannot wait 50 seconds before using this, and also the boon, once you reach it, it's not really that huge. Like, you are noticeably stronger, of course, but after 50 seconds of fight, I don't think this is very useful or worth it. The most interesting relic, I think, is the Relic of Caracoa. Heal other nearby allies when you successfully combo a field with a blast finisher. So I think this relic is OP and it will be nerfed because every healing classes should run this, in my opinion, because as you might already know, many classes have a lot of combo finishers blast, like the druid has, for example, your skill 5 on your warhorn, the skill 3 on the staff, the skill 3 on the celestial avatar, and also not to mention the quick draw, which is this trait which will reduce our skill by 66% cooldown. So you can use your skill 3 or your skill 5 or your skill 3 in celestial avatar as soon as you swap to it, and then you will have this skill already almost ready again, so you can blast again. So like for now on the druid it would be 4 blasts just by using skill 5 here, skill 3 here, skill 3 in celestial avatar, and one of these skills being reduced by the quick draw trait. Just this would be 3 blasts, meaning that you will heal for like almost 6k in like 2 seconds. This has no internal cooldown, or maybe the tooltip isn't showing it, maybe it's a bug. If this has no cooldown, it's the most OP relic in the game right now for War vs World specifically. To show you how OP this relic can be, sorry, I always say rune instead of relic, I also logged in my heal scrapper, so with the current gears and traits, this relic will heal for like 100, 1000, almost 2k. So we have these blasts on the scrapper with my build. So you have a blast when you press this again on your shield. You have your skill 5 from your medic kit, which is another blast. Then you have the skill 4 from the elixir gun. Then you have your F5. And then also you have your supply crate if you run it. And then you can press it again and you can blast it again. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blasts only on the engineer. So if you run this relic, you will reach like 2k multiplied for 6, it's like 12k in like, it takes like 3 or 4 seconds maybe to press all these buttons I just pressed. Now I logged in also my Heal Tempest, which is not really popular lately, but still it has a lot of blasts and also is still very strong despite what people say. So if you run staff, you have a blast on your skill 2, which has like 4 seconds cooldown, so it's super easy and super cheap. Then you have your skill 3, which is the magnetic aura. You press it again and you will blast. You can also get another magnetic aura if you run aftershock. You press it, you get another magnetic aura, you blast it, and it is another blast. Also, the shout itself is a blast, so it's an additional reason to run it, and also it inflicts immobilize, so consider running this. Then also your skill 2 from the earth on staff will blast. Then also your skill F4 from the earth. You press it and at the end it will perform a blast. So this is a lot of blasting. Also you can replace your utility skills with the arcane wave, which has 2 stacks, which you can use once every 2 seconds, and both of them are blasts. So each of these, with this current rate I run right now, you heal for like 1,500 per blast, and I think this relic is maybe too strong at the moment, or maybe it's just it has an internal cooldown, but it's not showing in this tooltip here. Another class which isn't really popular lately is the Spellbreaker, mostly because it was nerfed in almost every aspect, but still, if you run it, especially if you run Heal vs Heal Spellbreaker, you have the blast on your skill 4 on the Warhorn and also on the skill 5. They are both of them are blasts. And then you have your F1, which is a blast. Then with this trait right here, if you hit your F2, your F1 will reset immediately, and so you will hit your F2 and you F1 again. So this is another blast. And also you can change like your utilities. You can get the blast on some banners if you want, if you really need them. I don't think it's worth to change your utilities, but still you can heal for a lot with very small effort. This is all for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think about these relics, and also please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed my work, and also my theory crafting, of course. In the next days I will be testing these new relics once I acquire them, and most importantly I will cover the healing on blast relic, caracoa I think is the name, and I will let you know if it works, and also I will update the future builds, and also maybe I will post something on my post community to tell you that that relic works or doesn't work, or maybe it has an internal cooldown or any other flaw it might be. If it is like you can read it, I think it will be nerfed almost instantly because it's just too strong. For now, let's enjoy it, and also see you on to the next video. Thank you for watching and have a good night. Bye.